This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can see my screen and I'm audible. Yeah. So welcome to the first day one of our cloud performance engineering in DevOps course. So it's day one. We are starting from this day, and we'll just introduce the cloud computing today. So yeah, let's get started. So this will be the course topics that we're gonna cover. Uh, this entire course would take around 2 weeks of time, around 10 days, 10 sessions. We'll start from very scratch. We'll be introducing what is this cloud computing and why do we need cloud computing, and then we'll look into service models, different deployment models, and what are the major cloud providers we have in the market as of now, and what's the market share, and why do we choose AWS. And because we are dealing with AWS here in this course primarily, but it holds the concepts hold good for all the other cloud providers as well. Only the services name changes, rest everything is same. Once you understand one of the cloud providers, it's easy to understand, relate with other cloud as well. So it's not that difficult. So it's good to know about one of the cloud providers, anyone. But AWS being the most popular, we'll look into this. So okay, then we'll look into the various services. First, we'll create the AWS account. So by the end of today, our agenda is to finish till 7, because this is just the introductory session here. Till point 7, we'll end our session today at point 7 here. Create an AWS account. We'll create our AWS account today, and then we'll start looking into various services in detail. Okay, so this is the introductory session till point 6. Okay, then we'll look into the budget setup. Again, budget is one of the services that we need to set up. We look into core cloud concepts, AWS region, what is this AZ's availability zones, security, one of the very important services of AWS or any other cloud provider. IAM, we call it, identity and access management. We'll look into that. Then EC2, that's the compute service. In AWS, it's called EC2, but in other cloud provider, the name changes. Okay, but the basic functionality is the same. It's compute instance. Okay, so we'll provision EC2 in AWS cloud, and then we'll look into what is this private, public, and elastic IP, and connect to your instance remotely. So we can do that in the subsequent sessions. Okay, so our agenda for today's discussion would be to cover till point 7. So this is just the introductory session, and we are starting from very scratch. So I hope we can cover that. Yeah, thank you. So let's get started with the cloud computing introduction. Okay, so this is one of the basic information that we need. When I say data center, you should visualize something. You should visualize this particular building, and with this hardware. This is what the data center mean. One data center. Any company. Why I'm introducing this topic, because either any company, they have on-prem setup or cloud setup. They are provisioning, leveraging the cloud services. They leverage the hardware which is installed in this particular building. That is what it is called, data center. The basic definition. That's what I want you to visualize when I say data center. I want you to visualize that it's a building. We have a huge setup required, huge cost, because I need to purchase land, I need to construct infrastructure buildings, I need to purchase these many hardwares, and these hardwares will generate heat. I need to do a lot of investment for the cooling purpose, because this is a very this generates a lot of heat. this hardware. So a lot of investment is required in setting up a data center. That's what I want you to realize and visualize when I say data center. Okay. Okay. So let's get started. What does this cloud computing mean, and why cloud computing? What was the situation before cloud computing came into picture? So uh, if you look at this particular my diagram here, I'm showing enterprise IT, legacy IT. So that is the basically an on-prem setup. Okay. Uh, and basically there's not much difference between on-prem and cloud. Okay. Only thing is that in the on-prem I am owning the data center, and when I talk about the cloud provider owns the data center. They own the complete hardware. They maintain all the hardware and all the resources. And being a customer, I just use it and I pay as per my usage. That is only the difference between the on-prem and cloud. That is the basic definition difference in the layman terms that I want you to understand this. Because if you understand this basic thing, the things will be very simple. Okay, so when I say enterprise IT, any data center setup, it requires uh, obviously networking, storage, servers, virtualization. Everything is there in the data center, right? We need databases. I need security. I need to host my application. Everything is required, right? And we also understand the virtualization concept, right? In the back in 1980s, we used to have one big physical server, and we used to just deploy our application there, and a lot of resources were unutilized, right? So we entered the phase of virtualization. We are still in the phase of virtualization. We need to do that to so that we use the resources efficiently. And when I virtualize, I just, for the same physical server, I create multiple VMs. So I'm just showing here VM A, VM B, and VM C. That still holds good. In the cloud also, when we provision any compute instance, when we provision any compute instance in the AWS world, that is called EC2 instance or any other instance, basically I am using the virtualization itself uh, there also, because they have the big hardware with a lot of resource capacity, and I just provision few CPUs or few RAM of it, and then I call it as one my EC2 instance, my VM, I call it. So virtualization still holds good. And why I mentioned about this, to put the things in context. Okay, so what was the situation before cloud computing? So customers owning all the hardware and other components in their data centers to run applications or programs. So they have to own everything. If they want to deploy their application, if they wanted to host their application, they had to purchase the land, they had to purchase everything. They have to set up the complete data center to host their application. That was the situation before. It was huge initial cost was required in setting up, right? But not with the cloud. That is why this cloud came into picture, and that's why it is so much of importance. The new companies, those cannot afford to invest so much, right? They can also host their application. They can also build their application if they have some ideas, some startups, right? That's why we see so many startups nowadays. Uh, if this was not cloud computing, we cannot see these many startups, because it's so easy to just leverage the resource of any cloud provider and build your application, right? So cloud computing allows people access to the same kinds of applications through the internet. So when I say cloud, I mean to say that internet and virtualization. I am provisioning everything, all the resources through internet. right? I'm sitting here in Bangalore, but I can provision an instance somewhere in US or Australia or in Mumbai or any other region. I can use it. I can leverage the hardware. That's what the cloud computing for you. And why do we need cloud computing? The basic the basic idea is cost reduction, right? That's the main thing, right? And scalability. I don't have to worry about adding additional hardware or resource, right? I don't need to worry about at all. I can just simply provision it, and I can pay the cloud providers as per my usage, right? And the disaster recovery, yeah. I don't need to worry about what happens if my data center got flooded or there's some storm, right? So they will take care. I will, when I provision, when I deploy my application in cloud, I basically deploy in multiple data centers as well, not just in one. So that if something goes wrong with one data center, my request will be picked by other data centers. So that's what, and data security, it's secure. So, and mobility control and automated software updates. So these things will be taken care. What that's that they're all the reasons why do we need cloud computing, right? But the main requirement, the main benefit is in the cost reduction. The initial cost of setting up a data center is huge, and even the maintaining is also huge, is a task, right? I need to have security guards for my to secure my location. I need to have cooling. Maintenance cost is also huge. It's not about just the initial setup of a data center, it's about maintaining as well. That's why we have this cloud services so much in demand nowadays. Okay, yeah. So if someone asks you what is cloud computing, right? What's the basic definition of, if if I have to tell you the basic definition, here it is: virtualization and automation. That is the basic definition of a cloud. Over the internet, I am virtualizing a hardware. I am provisioning, when I provision an instance, right? Everything is automated here. In the cloud world, everything is automated, right? If someone has worked on manually, right? I have worked on on-prem infrastructure. If I want to provision one instance, I have to do a lot of stuff. I need to assign MAC address, I need to assign IP address, I need to set up networking, I need to do a lot of stuff to get one instance allocated for my application component, say web server. It's having a lot of efforts on my side. If I'm working on my own on-prem infrastructure, if I own the complete data center, still if I want to leverage one EC2 instance, one instance, I have to do a lot of stuff, but not with the cloud. I simply go to my console, AWS console, or any other console. I simply click few buttons. My instance is ready. My networking is set. My hardware, I don't have to add the hard drive. Everything is set. I just need to ask for it. I just need to click a button. Everything is automated. Everything is virtualized in the cloud world. So if someone just mentions what is cloud computing, virtualization and automation, that's these are the two key words that comes to your mind when I say something about cloud. I'm able to leverage the hardware remotely somewhere. I'm able to virtualize the hardware. I'm able to leverage the hardware resources over the internet, and everything is automated here with the few click of the buttons. We will show that by the end of today. We'll have our AWS console, and from tomorrow, from the next session, we're gonna see that how easy it is to provision an EC2 instance to host your application and to work around in cloud. So easy, so much easy. Okay, so the cloud is using virtualization and automation to provide users with self-service computing products. that provides infinite scale at low cost. That's the basic definition, and the key words are virtualization and automation. And these are some few features. Okay, this is from one of a very standard site. Okay, so cloud computing is a term used to describe the use of hardware and software delivered via network, usually the internet, right? That's what we are doing. We are sitting remotely. We are not going near to the data center. We are connecting remotely, and we are using all the hardwares. We are provisioning all our hardware requirements remotely over the internet, right? And simply put, cloud computing is computing based on the internet, right? Yeah. And these are the uh, features, I would say, features of the cloud computing. On demand self-service, right? On demand self-service, if something is there, we just need to go and pick it up, right? uh, Provision computing capabilities as needed automatically without requiring human interaction with service provider, right? We can simply uh, use without asking anyone's, right? So no human interaction is required. I simply need to click few buttons. I get to provision everything. So uh, just you can just read about it. So broad network access, right? Capabilities are available over the network and access through the standard mechanisms. So resource pooling. The providers computing resources are pooled to serve multiple consumers using a multi-tenant model with different resources dynamically assigned and reassigned according to demand. Yeah, and measured service. Resource uses can be monitored, controlled, and reported, providing transparency for both the provider and consumer of the utilized service. Yeah. So we can also monitor it, how much resource is being like the resource usage. We can keep a track. We have inbuilt you can say monitoring features. The popular one is CloudWatch. We have it in AWS. It provides you all the metrics of all the resources. Whatever you provision, you just get to see all your resources. It's inbuilt. You don't have to install any other softwares. It's inbuilt feature. And rapid elasticity. Capabilities can be elastically provisioned and released, right? In some cases, automatically to scale rapidly outward and inward with demand. So it's the most important feature is one of the most important feature is this. So it scales as per your request. If you have set up that you scale up one more instance, if your resource utilization is going over 60%, suppose you have hosted one application and you have two application servers for now, two managed instances, two application servers, and you just need to set up that if my CPU utilization goes beyond 60%, provision two more application servers. It will do for you automatically scale, and you will pay only for the time you are using more resources. You'll not be charged before. Once you use it, then only you have to pay it. And once again, if the user demands decreases, those will be synced again, will be taken back, and then you will not be charged for that. So that's the features for you, cloud computing features, and that is why it is so much in demand, and why everyone is going to cloud. Yeah. Okay, so we are in the next phase now to understand about the service model and benefits, and how do we choose between SaaS, IaaS, and PaaS. So do we have any confusion till now? Are we good? Because this understanding is very important. This foundation is very important. You need to understand what this cloud is all about. It is a, so if I have to tell you, brief you, what is this cloud? It is the same thing. On-prem and cloud is the same thing. Only difference is that in the on-prem, I am owning the data center. I am owning the all the resources, all the hardware. But in the cloud, I am just provisioning it. I am just leveraging the hardware through the internet. That's what is the difference. I don't need to own any of the hardware. I can only leverage it. I can use it. I can pay as per my usage. That is what the cloud is all about. And virtualization and automation. These are the two like keywords which should come to your mind when I say cloud. So it's we are doing virtualization, right? And everything is automated in the cloud world. So and the other few features, yeah, characteristics of cloud computing. Yeah, I hope we are good. Yeah. Okay. So okay, let's come to the service model. So there are three ways we can leverage the cloud. Okay. So we have three options. So this is again the on-prem world. The first one, legacy enterprise IT or legacy IT, where I am owning everything. You can see this customer managed, custom everything. Like I'm owning all the. Suppose I am a I own a data center, so I am maintaining everything. I am my own customer, right? I have purchased my data center. Everything is hardware. I own the hardware, so I have to manage everything, right? But not with the cloud, right? I don't own anything, right? So there are three ways I can leverage. Suppose you are a AWS provider, any cloud provider. So there are three ways I can leverage the AWS or any cloud provider. And they are called service models. Basically, they are called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. There are three ways I can leverage the cloud provider. In the first case, this is the most popular model, the most popular model. Like if like small companies, big companies, they go for this infrastructure as a service, right? Most of the companies, again, depends. They can also go for platform as a service or software as a service, but most of the companies they go with infrastructure as a service where these many resources, these components, data centers, networking, storage, servers, and virtualization, this is managed by the cloud provider. So this question can come up if someone asks you, what do you understand by infrastructure as a service? What do you understand by platform as a service? They in the interview they can simply check you. Do you really understand cloud? So if they want to really understand your understanding of the cloud, they can simply come up with this question to just understand, do you really aware of this thing? Do you really know about this cloud thing? So they can simply check you. Okay, so what is this infrastructure service? So you need to tell them in the infrastructure as a service, these are the components: data center, networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. This is managed by the cloud provider. They take care of these many components. And as a customer, we need to take care of these many things. Operating system, what? So I got the hardware, I got the networking setup, I got everything, I got the hardware, virtualization software they are giving up, right? So I got this from the AWS cloud provider or any cloud provider. So this concept holds good for all the cloud providers. Okay, we have not started AWS as of now, so this holds good for all the. So just to put things in context. So, and as a customer, I get to choose operating system, what operating system I need to run my applications with, that I get to choose as a customer. Databases, what databases I need to use, right? Um, and I get to manage my own databases because I don't want to uh, put my databases in the cloud world. That can be also true. Again, we'll understand about this hybrid model. That's the most popular way of going about it. What happens? Data centers. Most of the companies, big companies, they don't want to host their data centers in the cloud. They would have data center on-prem or with some other cloud provider, but they will leverage all the other components like application server or web server. So we'll understand about this hybrid way. But data center, customer database, customer manages security and applications. So these four components are managed by the customer in the case of infrastructure as a service, but all the other components are managed by the cloud provider. Okay, so again the question is choosing between when do we go with IaaS, right, infrastructure service. So again depends on the business, right? So any small or any medium level companies can go. Again it depends on your requirement. Okay, if you want to have some control over the operating system databases, you would go for infrastructure as a service, not PaaS or SaaS, right? So that's the important thing here. And here you can just see here, it's minimize cost, enhance scalability, and simple deployment. That's the benefits of IaaS. Okay, right.
Roshan, sorry to interrupt.
Sure,
I
please
have a
go ahead.
question. Yeah. Roshan, here when you say there's three models, right? IaaS, software as a service, and platform as a service. How far they are protected with the data when it is managed by external provider?
So as I mentioned,
Because
right?
Yeah, sorry.
So in the platform as a service, I'm not managing my databases. So I'm coming to that. So in the infrastructure as a service only, I'm getting the control of my data, but not with the case of platform as a service and software as a service. So so I'm coming to that, Avinash. So just give me a few minutes, then you can ask the question. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. So now that's about the infrastructure as a service. Okay. So yeah, in the platform as a service, right here, I am just owning my application. I'm just customer is managing only the application part of it. Okay, all the other components are managed by the cloud provider. So why do we need platform as a service? So suppose I am a developer. I have a company where I am having a lot of developers and testers, right? Suppose I'm not thinking about installing all the runtime environment or all the hardware, right? I just want my developers to write the code and build my application. In that case, I will go for platform as a service. So again, it depends on what service you would like to leverage. Again, depends on what you want to achieve. That's the most important part, right? So if PaaS is the preferred option if your project involves multiple developers and vendors. With PaaS, it is easy to create customized application. It leases out all the essential computing and networking resources. So that's what it is. So I'm just developing my application. That's it. I'm just developer, and all the hardware, all the is managed by the cloud provider. But as a software as a service, I don't own anything. Like your YouTube or your Gmail, right? You're just using the service. You don't own the hardware, neither you own the application. You don't manage anything. You just use the service. So if your requirement is that you want to just leverage one service, you can talk to the cloud provider and you can just mention that or the company. Suppose if any company, as a customer, right, as a customer, you just want to use that as a service, so you can go with SaaS. So again, it depends on your requirement, how you want to leverage cloud. Because if you like for the SaaS, right, don't have to pay anything, right? Not much as compared to platform as service, or you're just basically using for the softwares, right? So you're just paying for that. Yeah. Avinash, your question, please. Yeah.
Yes, I think I mean, next explanation holds good, Roshan. Now I got an information. Like, I
Perfect.
mean, I can see only banking industry like major banks and all will be going with IaaS, I believe, right?
Right. Again, depends on, if not banking, yeah, obviously they would go for, yes, all the major companies, they would always, this is the most preferred way. Even if I'm a mid-sized company, right? Even if I'm a mid-sized company, suppose I am Flipkart. Suppose I'm a Flipkart. If I'm a I would also go with infrastructure service, right? Because I would need to manage my DB, right, all the time, because I need to update everything all the time, right? So again, if I'm a mid-sized company also, I would go with infrastructure service. So this is the most popular service. Everyone, they are going with this mostly, yeah. But again, this is also important. You can also go with all the three for different services. Again, it depends all on your requirement. So yeah, SaaS is the ideal choice for small scale businesses who do not have the necessary budget and resources to deploy on-prem hardware. So for the small scale businesses, right, they simply want to leverage the services, so they can go with software service. Again, it depends. So yeah.
Okay,
So that's
got
all
it.
about the service. Yeah, please. Yeah, Avinash.
Yeah, got it, Roshan. Yeah, thanks. Please
Perfect.
go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So you can just mention this, the features here. The SaaS is affordable, anywhere accessibility, ready to use, right? I can access is anywhere, right? It's a software service. I don't own anything. I just use to get the service, right? So you're basically, if I have to give more examples on SaaS, we use Sheets, right? Google Sheets, Google Forms, right? So those things are a software service. We don't own anything, we simply use it, right? And we make our lives, our in Google Drive, the one I'm using it, I'm showing the presentation in the Google slides. So I'm simply using it, right? I'm not owning anything. I don't own any hardware. I don't own the Google slide application. I'm simply using it. So that's the software as a service for you. Uh, Again, platform as service. If I want to develop platform as service, would be what, like, there are many sites where you get to code, right? There are many sites. If you just go for Java or Python online editor, right? So basically that would be the example of a platform as service. You simply writing the code and executing it, right? You don't own the hardware or the runtime environment or the softwares. You don't have to install Java, Python runtime environment or the hardware or the operating system. Nothing. You simply write the code in the editor and you click on execute, and it executes, right? So those will be the example of your PaaS. Just writing the code and executing it. You're not thinking about anything else. So that would be the example of your PaaS. And infrastructure service, basically you own these things. You manage the customer, you manage operating system. You get to decide, I want this operating system for my application server. I want this flavor of Linux. I want this. I want that. I want this databases. I want this kind of security. You basically, the lot of control is here in the infrastructure service. You get to have a control over your application. You are just basically using the hardware or those things of the cloud provider, and you get to control a lot of things of your application. So again, it depends on how you want to leverage cloud. There are three ways you can leverage cloud.
Sure.
Perfect. Okay, so coming to the deployment model, next thing. So we talked about,
Roshan, I have a question
yes,
here.
yeah. Someone has any question?
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
okay, please, yeah.
So, yes, we have earlier we have different environment, as you said, like we are going to convert that environment into the SaaS or IaaS or PaaS.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
with respect to this, as a performance engineer, so how there is a huge data in the existing environment. So what precautions as a performance engineer, like how we can confirm existing data is moved to the SaaS or this one, how we can confirm which is working, how it is uh, responding, what is the response time is from existing infrastructure and this current infrastructure.
Okay, so see, as a performance engineers, we are not responsible for migrating or migrating our infrastructure to cloud, right? We can only ascertain that what the performance what we had on-prem is the same or better in cloud. That's what we can only test and inform the group that yes, we can make a transition to cloud if we are not degrading on the performance point of view. So once this is migrated, right, we can do a same kind of test. So again, I mentioned this on-prem and cloud is not much of a difference. Only thing is that I don't own the hardware in the case of cloud, but in the case of on-prem, I am owning the hardware. But the testing wise, it is the same testing. What holds good, whatever the functionality that we had earlier, it will be the same functionality, same like performance test cases, I would say, or the same script, same kind of testing you do. Again, what additionally you get in cloud is that you get to provision your instances at multiple locations. You take care of your data, the disaster recovery. You make your application highly available. If your one node goes down, your request will be picked by other load. So you can test these test cases as well along with your as normal test cases. So and then you can just make a comparison of your last data point, and when you have the application deployed in the cloud, you can just compare it and just make a conclusion. Okay, so whether the performance is the same, degraded, or it's better. So
Okay.
I hope I answered your question, Asima.
Yeah, Rosh.
Sure. Yes, we're gonna demonstrate. Everything is hands-on, Sastri. I just got a message from Sastri that yes, everything will be hands-on. We would do everything. This is a few initial discussion. That's why it's very important to lay the foundation, and that's why we are going over the slides. But everything will be provisioning in the AWS console. By the end of today's session, we'll have AWS console. Everyone would have AWS console, and we're gonna work. We're gonna work in real time. Everything is hands-on. All the topics are hands-on here. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so let's move forward to the next topic, deployment model. So again, we can deploy, we can choose the cloud provider in, there are three ways. Okay, so we have private cloud, community cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. So public, let's start with the public cloud. So this AWS or Azure or GCP, these are the public cloud. Okay, so they will own a data center, but any other customer, any other people, any customer can join, can leverage the hardware from their data centers. They don't have any restrictions. That's the public meaning, public cloud. Okay, it's open for the public. Any customer can leverage the hardware of that data center. Okay, any customer can go and choose. Okay, I want this data center, and they can, multiple customers can be in the one data center. That's the public meaning. But where in the case of private, I will purchase one data center, or I will ask the cloud provider that once I'm going to use this data center so that no one else uses it. No one can leverage the hardware where I am, suppose I am choosing the DC1 data center 1. So no other customer can join, can leverage the hardware from the same data center. So that's the private cloud for you. Basically, they own the complete data center. So that's the private cloud for you. Okay. And community is like, suppose someone mentioned about the banking people here. Suppose I am a community, I make my own community. All the banks, big banks, Goldman Sachs, or all the big banks came together. Okay, JP Morgan, all the big banks came together and they purchased the data center. So only because they have the security thing in common, they want their application to be secure, right? Their data to be secure. So they can make their own community, and then they will go and leverage the hardware in the data center, and they will make and they will make sure no one else uses that particular data center, just for the security sake. So that's the community cloud. There are providers. So public cloud examples are AWS or Azure or GCP, but there are other cloud providers. They provide private cloud or community cloud. Okay, there are players in the market. But this AWS, Azure or GCP, Google Cloud, so they are the public cloud providers. Okay. Hybrid cloud is the most preferred way of going about leveraging the cloud services. Hybrid cloud is like they are basically using two cloud providers, or they are using on-prem one, like they would have database in the on-prem, and then they have the other application components like application server or web server or other components. They will host that in the other cloud provider. So that's the hybrid. Or they can go for multiple cloud providers, just for this to be on the most secure wise. They don't want to rely completely on one particular cloud provider. So we have these four deployment models. Okay, private cloud, community cloud, uh, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. Okay, and each deployment model is defined according to where the infrastructure for the environment is located. That's it, where the infrastructure is located. And that's the basic definition. You can just Google it if you want to know more about it. Just Google it, cloud deployment models, or cloud service models. You will get to know a lot of information. So you can just go about it. But that's the main concept. Okay. Yeah.
Can you explain hybrid one?
Which one? Please come again. You can
Hybrid cloud.
come in between. Yeah. Please come again. Someone asked any question, please. Someone asked any question. I'm echoing. Can someone go on?
What is the hybrid cloud?
Okay. So as I mentioned, right, hybrid cloud could be two types. Basically, I am using two cloud providers. I am leveraging two cloud providers, not one. I am using, for example, I am using AWS and Azure both, and I have few application components. I may have my application server hosted in AWS and my database or my web server hosted in Azure. So basically I'm using two cloud providers. Or other type would be that I am having on a database on-prem. I am owning the my database, but the other application components like application server or web server, I'm using the cloud provider. I'm leveraging those services for the cloud provider, my application server and my web server, but my DB is with me. So this hybrid is that, meaning I'm having a combination of two, not just one. So that's the meaning of hybrid. I hope you're good, right? Yeah. Okay. So, okay, so coming to the major cloud providers, okay, so these are the major cloud providers. We have AWS, Amazon. These are the public cloud providers, by the way, okay, public. They are the public cloud providers. AWS, we have it, that's called it Amazon Web Services. We have Microsoft Azure, and we have GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So these are the three major cloud providers we have currently in the market. And this AWS and Azure holds the maximum market, and even in that, AWS holds the 33% of the market. Yeah, I have the next slide, I think, where I'm showing about that. Yes, if you look at the market share, okay, this is the latest kind of study from Canalys, okay, uh, uh, one institution which does this study. So this is the latest reports. You can see this, the market share of AWS is 32%. One third of the entire market, cloud market, is handled by AWS. And in second position, we have Microsoft Azure, which holds about 20%, not that far behind. But again, other cloud providers are lacking behind. They don't have that much of a market share. So AWS and Azure, AWS has the maximum market share, and that is why we have taken up AWS in the course, one of the primary regions, because it is popular. And yeah, and it's mostly you will end up having interview questions on AWS. And even if you suppose the interviewer asks you about Azure, you can just mention, see, you can relate things. Once you understand the services in AWS, you can easily relate to Azure. It will not take more of a time, much of a time for you to understand about Azure, right? So I know about two cloud providers in detail. I know about AWS, and one is Oracle's OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, in detail. It was very easy for me. If I know one, it's very easy to understand the other one. Okay, so it's just about getting to know the services, what they have. If I know about AWS, it's a matter of time. I just need to know about the services. Okay, because if you have one service in AWS, you will have a similar service in Azure or GCP, similar, because they are developing, the functionality is the same. Why AWS has the maximum what's the market share? Because they started up very early. They have this 6 years ahead. They started 6 years before than any other cloud providers. That's why they have the biggest market share, the most of the market share. Okay, if you look at the AWS cloud history, so they started very beginning. Okay, in 2008 they officially launched. Okay, they officially launched around 2008, and but they started with 2002. They internally launched. Again in 2003, a major infrastructure is one of the core strength idea to market. Again in 2004, they launched one of the services, launched publicly with SQS. Again, it's one of the services. Again in 2006, they relaunched with few services, SQS, S3, and EC2. EC2 is the compute instance. Okay, S3 is the storage. Okay, so now if you look at their console, you would find a lot of services. So it keeps on developing. It's if you want to look for automation at its peak, you should look at the cloud provider. They're automating everything. They are automating everything, basically, literally everything. So if you look at now 2020 dashboard, back in 2006 they had just these three services, SQS, S3, and EC2. But if you look at the AWS console now, they're having a lot more services, lot more. And they are still developing, and other cloud providers are kind of picking up on that. Okay, they are still ramping up on the services and all those things. So if you look at the examples here, so your Netflix, you are using AWS. Your obviously the Amazon Prime Video, obviously those will be owned by AWS only, because that's Amazon's only. Dropbox, your Airbnb or NASA, they all are using AWS. So that is the thing we're gonna do today. Okay, so before coming to this, I go over this. Do we have any questions? So because this foundation is very important to understand whatever we have discussed. So this is the last thing we're gonna cover today. We're gonna make sure that everyone has the account with them. and then we're gonna continue from there. So till here, everyone, if anyone has any doubt, please let me know on any of these things. We just introduced about the cloud. If you've understood the difference between on-prem and cloud and the way we leverage the cloud, that's all about this session. Okay, so that's the brief. That's the crux of this particular session. If you understand about the difference between on-prem and cloud and the way there are various ways we can leverage the cloud, we are good. Are we good? Yeah. So I take silence as yes. Okay, then you can just go over this site. I'll ping. Can just okay. Let me just copy paste and just go over this site and just okay. So I have okay. So you basically need to use this site and you need to provide your email address, your password, so you need to give your AWS account line and then you can continue. Okay. So I'll just ping you this link and you can start with that. Okay. We'll complete till this point today, and then from next session we'll go over all the we'll have the AWS account, and then we'll start in detail about all the AWS services. So it's 12 months of free tier access. Okay, will not be charged, but you will have to provide your either debit card or credit card details, but you'll not be charged. Even if you are billed, they will ask your permissions. Can I bill it? Unless you don't click on after a few months, also after 6 to 8 months, even if you are billed, you will have to option to pay or not pay, but it's free. Okay, for 12 months, for 750 hours, you can go about reading this. What all is free and how it is. You can go about reading this. Okay, so you have to provide your email address, your password, and you need to click on continue. If I suppose if I do this, let me just, is everyone doing with me? Right? You can give any name. Any name. Are you guys doing with me? Can someone confirm?
Roshan, I'm connecting from mobile, so we'll do it later part of the day. I mean,
Sure. You can do it. You can do it, and you can ping me if you have any doubts while doing it. It's a straightforward process, and if you just need to click on continue after giving these details, and again you will have to let me just. Okay, I already have this account, so I cannot use this email ID. I will have to create my own email ID, new email ID, if I want to demonstrate. Can someone give me their email ID? I will just demonstrate. I will not use it. Can someone, if they have it handy, can someone give me their email ID? Because I cannot use it. Okay, let me give a dummy email ID, because anyway I'm not gonna complete the process. I already have the account. Let me just use some other email ID. Okay. Okay. What is happening? I am clicking here, but they're not coming here. Okay. Let me use this email ID. Okay, so you just need to click on continue, and then you have to provide all your details. Need not be that correct, but you can provide your details here in the next. Then you can click this box and you can create account and continue. Okay. If I give, will it ask? I need to provide all the details. ABC. I need to give phone number. Okay, the phone number. Okay. Straightforward. Okay, it's not that difficult. And I would highly advise that everyone, if they want to learn cloud, you should have this. That's where you will practice. I'm going to demonstrate in my AWS account, but you need to practice in yours. Okay, so okay. Once you click on next, you have to provide details. They will not be charged. They may detect 1 rupee or 2 rupee. That's it. Okay, I have done it multiple times, so they would just deduct. Again, you will get back that, or in dollars they would deduct $1. I'm not sure on dollars, but I have used Indian credit card, so they would deduct. Even I have used debit card also here, ICICI debit card. Even that works. So they will deduct just 1 rupee or 2 rupee. Again, you'll get this back. So yeah, that's what you need to provide, and then you need to verify and add, and you should get this. Okay, at end of this, you should get this particular thing. If you are getting this, you are good. And select basic plan if you have. Yeah. Yeah, I think Troy is doing. So Troy, if you get this particular screen, you're good.
I'm actually stuck. I had an AWS account already, and
Okay.
I need to resync. I need to resync my MFA. So I'm working on that now.
Yes, you need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have told about this in the next session, the authenticator, Google authenticator, and we need to use that. Yeah. So if you look at my AWS account, this is how it will look. Okay. So once you get that, I would tell you that we need to first you need to sign in as the root user. Then I will, in the next session, I will demonstrate you this IAM, one of the services, and we should always use this IAM user, not the root user. In the next session, I'm going to do that. I'm going to walk you through the initial setup procedure. I will be setting up the budget for you. If you're exceeding the whatever the even 10 cents or $1 of your bill amount, you'll be notified in your email. We'll do that setup first, budget setup. We'll do that first thing, and then you're gonna add user in the IAM. That's called identity access management. And I've used this Roshan. Let me just show you how this root user will look like. Okay. So once you get the access, you will be logging in as the root user. Okay. This is the root user, and I have to provide the credentials here for the root user for the first time, and then I will have to provide my password here. Okay, and then I have to, I think, provide my MFA code. MFA code would be my Google Authenticator. You will have to download an application. If either in Android or iOS, there's an application called Google Authenticator. You have to provide. I'm just looking at my authenticator, and there are six digit key which is getting generated every time. So I need to provide that detail, and once it happens in real time. Okay. So once I do that, this is my root account. Okay, this is my root account. So first thing what we would do in the next session is that we're gonna come here and we're gonna first do a billing dashboard. We'll come to the billing dashboard and we'll first set up this your billing. So I have been charged something because I was practicing a lot, so I have been charged. But in budget, you need to set up your budget first of all, that you'll be notified if you're exceeding your limit. You'll be notified that you will get the email. Okay, first we'll do that. And second thing would be we'll add the IAM user. So that's we're gonna do in the next session. Okay. So when I mentioned about the services, right? I'm gonna show you that nowadays we have so many services. So it's developing. All the cloud providers are developing a lot, but AWS has, since they have started a long before, six years ahead of any other cloud providers in the market. So they have the most of the services, and uh, a lot of services. Okay, we're going to talk about a lot of them, all the relevant ones. We're going to talk about it. And the first thing would we do, we'll go to IAM and we'll create one IAM user. Okay, because we should not be using the root account all the time. So I will add you guys here in the, so this is one of the IAM user I have here, Roshan. I have created it some time back. So I'm going to use this IAM user now to log in, not my root. Okay, so we're going to do that, these things in the next session. So for that, better to have this account for you first. So this is my IAM user, Roshan. That's why I'm giving the name here, because I have created one IAM user. Because root user is like your root. Okay, it's, you should always keep it secure. No one else would use it. But I have given this Roshan user as the admin access. So this guy, this user has all the access in the world. Okay, it's the admin access I have given it. We'll see how to do that. And once I do that, I'm gonna log in using my IAM user, not my root user all the time. Root user is only for the one time. So I have given some Roshan and some password I have given it. I'm gonna sign in. Okay, it's not working. Okay, it's, I think IAM 8586. I think no, here it is, 8586. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just go log into my, now I'm in the Roshan user. See, I'm in the Roshan at the rate of this. So I'll be working everything from here. So we have a lot of services. Okay, we're going to demonstrate about all the services here. That's what we're going to do from the next session. Okay, so for that you would need to have perfect MFA fixed. I mean, perfect. Good to know. So we'll see tomorrow how to create IAM user if you have not created, and we'll also do the budget setup so that you'll be notified if you exceed your budget limit, whatever you have mentioned there, you'll be notified in your email so that you don't over exceed. Or yeah, and we'll do that one by one, step by step procedure is there. We'll do that so that you always log in as the IAM user, not the root user all the time. So it's always preferred to use IAM user, because basically you do what the in the industry expects from you. You'll not be logged in as the root user, right? You'll be logged in as the IAM user in the real time. So we'll do that. And we have a lot of services here. So the automation at its peak, if you want to look at the automation, look for any AWS or any cloud provider console. They have automated the entire process. We have a lot of, so we'll go in detail about a lot of these services. Okay, you'll be comfortable working in cloud environment for sure. That's what I can guarantee. Yeah. Okay, so just have this link, whatever I have pasted in the chat with you handy. And if you have any doubt while getting the access, you should have, you should get this particular page here. Okay, you should, At end of this, you should have this particular page. If you're getting this, you're all good. And in the next session, we're going to demonstrate what to do next. You select basic plan. Yeah. Okay, so thank you everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah. Any question or timings, duration, anything on anything. Yeah. Are we good? Can someone confirm? Are we good?
Yeah, Roshan.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, then you just ping me. Okay, I'm in the same group. You can just ping me privately or in the group if you have any doubts in getting your account set up, because that's the most important thing. But for the next session, we're going to use this. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Then. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.